Hello. I'm feeling a little crabby today. I've got women issues, I'm tired, and I just don't feel very well at the moment. A bit nauseous, to be honest. Or should I say nauseated, is the grammatically correct version. Still, this is why I am still in my rather attractive get-up. But I thought today I would do a bit of a story time, I guess. I haven't done one of those like ever on this channel. So it was about a time when I was with my first boyfriend, and I should probably tell you what it's about first. I was nearly attacked. I don't know what the guy's intentions were, but I had a feeling they were pretty nefarious, to be fair. And I was quite lucky in that respect, that I managed to get away unscathed, I suppose. A little bit because I didn't panic and actually thought properly, I suppose, but it could have been a lot worse if I hesitated any longer, to be fair. But anyway, I'll get into it. It was a good few years ago now. I think I was early 20s, late teens, something like that. I was with my first boyfriend, and I just finished seeing him, and I was like getting picked up by my mum because I couldn't drive back then. And it was like 10 at night, or almost 10, I think it was like 1:45 or something. And I texted my mum and sort of said, "Oh, come pick me up," whatever. I waited for some reason at far end of the street, like on the corner, which, yes, I know, street corners and all that, but I was waiting there for about 10 minutes. It was pitch black, obviously, because it was at night, and I saw this guy driving past in his car a couple of times, just like looking at me out of his window. I was just like, a bit creepy, but whatever, didn't think anything of it at the time. Until I saw him coming past in the opposite direction again and staring at me through his car window. And then he did it a third time and turned round the corner that I was stood on. And I was starting to get pretty freaked out at this point, like, what the actual hell? Like, this is not good. He's clearly scoping me out and seeing if there's anybody around. But he'd driven up the road and I couldn't see his car anymore. He'd gone quite far up, so I was like, alright, still thinking nothing of it. About 10 minutes had passed from the time that I texted my mum to come pick me up. And it usually takes her about 20-25 minutes to get there. So I still had at least 10 to go. Stood around waiting, just like... And this guy that had been driving past me a few times had got out and walked all the way back down the road to stand near me. Obviously by then I'm not quite full panic, but still a little bit sort of like heart racing and something's not quite right. I'm starting to feel quite nervous at this point, and it's just like, this is not good. I need to go somewhere. I started wrapping the straps around the bag I was holding around my knuckles just to make sure I had a better grip on it, because I did have a couple of hard objects in my bag that I could potentially smack round this guy's head if he came any closer. But given the fact that many people say, oh, I'll be able to handle myself, it's fine, it won't happen to me, and I don't want to be another one of those statistics by thinking that way, so I didn't want to actually have it come to that if I can help it. And at the time, Blockbusters was still a thing, and it was still open until 10. It was just almost 10 o'clock by the time he'd come up to me. And he'd started edging a couple of inches closer every 30 seconds or so. And I was like, by this point he was right here and stood next to me. There was no reason for him to stand next to me. He had a car. He didn't ask me what the time was or anything. There was no reason for him to be there other than the obvious. With seconds to think about it, as I assumed, I was like, Blockbusters is still open. I'm going to go and cross the road and stand in Blockbusters. If they try to kick me out because it's closing, I'm going to have to explain to them why I'm in there. I'm frantically phoning my mum saying, where the hell are you? Hurry up, there's a guy out there that's clearly wanting to do something to me. And by then she's panicking as well. She's like, where are you? And I was like, I'll be there in a second. As mothers do. But he disappeared very quickly after that, because I looked out the window the moment I got inside and he was gone. So he clearly wanted to do bad things to me, so I was quite fortunate that day that I thought about it and actually moved out the way, I guess. Because if I waited there any longer, he probably would have grabbed me, and I don't know what he would have done. Either sexual assault, rape, or murdering me of some description. I don't know. Or all of the above, probably. So, moral of the story pretty much is don't just wait around assuming that it's not going to happen to you, because you could be not even anywhere near the centre of town, which is where things like that usually happen, in and around bars and clubs and back alleys. I wasn't anywhere near a back alley. I was in the middle of a street. A rather open street at that. Well lit. And he was still coming at me, so it could happen anywhere at any time. So I wouldn't even try to take any chances, to be honest. So I encourage everybody, not just women, to be fair, to be safe. Make sure that at least when you can help it, to have somebody with you. I sure as shit wouldn't go on to public transport by myself in the middle of the night. I don't want to go into any taxis by myself, because I've heard various other stories from my friends about how they've been attacked by dodgy taxi drivers. I get particularly freaked out about Uber as well, but that's just mostly paranoia probably, but at the same time it has the same principle as taxis to me. I wouldn't go in any of them on my own either. So just be safe is the short version of that very long-winded explanation. But yeah. It is something that sticks with me, because I remember how fortunate I was that I actually thought about it, because not everybody gets that kind of time. So, yeah, a lot of luck and a lot of common sense, I guess. but not everybody has a Blockbusters to run into, do they? So anyway, I'm sorry this wasn't a funny one like I usually do on Sundays, but it's not quite one of my usual types of vlogs either, so I had to put it somewhere. Yeah. I'll see you next week.